Hello and welcome to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe. And please rate and review the show. Reminder, we're streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360 Monday to Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. I'm your host, William Loom. Joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong, who is also dressed very businesslike. What's going on, man? This guy got the Ernst & Young fit on. What's going on? Can we pan to Alex?
No, shouts to everybody. Happy hump day, especially to my charter accountants trying to put in your 40 billable hours. We're here for you one day until the trade deadline.
Wow.
What's going on, man? Why are you dressed up?
Doing a TV hit later.
Oh, that's right.
From the arena.
Oh, that's right. That's right. 5:30.
Him and friends.
From the court? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the Chicken Man.
From the
Chicken
Scotiabank
Man.
Arena court, to be clear.
Chicken Man's going to be clucking. That's what he's going to be doing.
That's actually tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah, Gary Trent Jr. is doing a KFC court appearance tomorrow.
I mean, you saw the tweet.
At 3:30.
Yeah.
So, interesting timing. We'll see what happens.
Trust me, I listen. As soon as the director for this program contacted me about it, and we had a conversation about it, he's a friend of the program as well. And I was like, you have Gary on Thursday at 3:30? He's like, trust me, I know, right? The deadline is 3 o'clock. But, you know, apparently it's going to happen. So
no, it'll be interesting if he does
take
get
with that
traded.
what you will.
You'll see all the media members descend onto a KFC court.
I mean, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, you're not even gonna make it there till you have work.
Well, we're literally on
obligations
air until 2 and 4.
Yeah, make sure you tune in tomorrow, 2 to 4 p.m.
Trade deadline special.
Trade deadline special. From the same two people who brought you 2 hours of Thad Young trade breakdown.
Well, hopefully
last
it's not
year.
just Thad Young being traded this time, but we'll see.
Maybe it'll be like Raptors trade a second rounder for Kelly Oubre. Yeah. Yo, how would you feel after all this? Because I think that's a lot of angst with the fan base right now. Is like after all this chatter, all this anticipation, like they need something to happen. Like I think there's a lot of angst. Are you feeling that angst too, or are you just ready to be over?
No, I'm ready to like move past the trade deadline, know who's here, know who's not here, and then see what the direction of the season is going to be, and then focus on basketball, right? Because I mean, like realistically, the Raptors are. They're 5 games under. It's obviously not an ideal season. It's been frustrating. We've covered all those angles, but at the same time, like I really love basketball, and like these are more like basketball adjacent topics of like, who's gonna get traded for who, and honestly, we discussed like a million deals, maybe 2
I
of
got
them.
some Jakob Poeltl news for you.
Oh, I can't wait, man! Yeah. Wow, nothing gets the fan base going like Jakob Poeltl. Yeah, like I don't know. I preferred like. Thinking about like the actual game itself, who played well, who didn't play well, what other factors went into that. I love the strategy aspect as well. And I'm like, I want the games to matter a little bit more than specifically the deadline itself. So I'm just like ready to refocus on the game. Because like, for example, there's gonna be no excitement whatsoever for the Raptors playing Jakob Poeltl on the Spurs tonight.
Yeah, like I kind of forgot that the Raptors are still playing basketball games because I think there's just a lot of anticipation for it. And I hear you, man. We're here on Monday trying to talk about the Rockets and Grizzlies game. And I thought I was going to take a whole first segment, but 5 minutes in, we were like, wow, there's really nothing to break down about this team.
I mean,
like at the moment.
Like when I was down at practice on yesterday, I did ask Scotty because he came to the scrum, and I did ask him like, why did you always take over in fourth quarters, or like what is it about the fourth quarter that gets you going? Like that could have been like a topic that we really would have gone into if there wasn't the trade deadline.
That's fair.
In an alternate universe, when it wasn't the deadline to come this week, we would be coming in on Monday being like, hey, Scotty Barnes took over in the fourth quarter. That was awesome to see. Why do you think it is that Scotty takes over in the fourth? And we would have like a 20-minute basketball discussion about that. But instead, it was just more like, hey, what did Mark Stein say while you were listening to him in bed?
Yeah, today's bedtime listening was the Hoop Collective.
Ah.
Yeah. How about you?
That's a better one. Yeah. How did I listen to on the way to work? What did I listen to?
What's in your trade deadline rotation right now?
Yeah, okay, so obviously hashtag this league. I'm not a fan of all the ads in that one. There's just too many ads.
The ads are very abrupt in those.
Yo, I don't think the editor is like putting them in the strategic spots.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Show some Mark Stein, Chris Haynes, put them on text notification.
Yeah.
Don't get caught with a fake Woj tomorrow, okay?
No.
Actually, Woj been slipping though, but
well, yeah. But
yeah.
No, I mean that was about it. I listened to that episode on the way to work. It wasn't that long of a commute.
I just like hearing you say hashtag this league.
Hashtag this league.
Yeah. But yeah, so Raptors are playing basketball tonight, which we'll get to at the very end because it doesn't matter right now. LeBron James last night broke the all-time scoring record.
That was cool, man.
Where were you when the fadeaway jumper happened?
Well, first off, we were at the Raptors Republic live show yesterday.
Yeah,
so
shouts
it was
to
really cool
Zohar
to
and the
see.
team.
Shouts to
Yeah,
Zohar and the team for
it's
sure.
amazing.
It was great to see everybody up there and you know, sharing their thoughts and the community getting together and stuff like that.
Shouts to Catherine's stand-up set.
Shouts to Catherine's stand-up set. I
Yeah.
wasn't, unfortunately, there for it because I was at soccer right before that. But yeah, I mean, you know, it was a cool time. And then I got home from the bar and it was like just in time for the third quarter. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I know LeBron had like 20 points. And I turned it on just at the start of the third quarter. And I was just like watching it through. And at first I was just like, okay, this is kind of lame. But then I kind of really got into it. Like seeing the crowd really get into it. Like everybody was just waiting. Like anytime anyone else brought the ball up or tried to shoot, I was just like, what are you doing? Right? Like give the ball to LeBron and let him cook. And in LeBron's credit, like he was super efficient with his offense, like was really getting a lot of shots to drop in that third quarter. Where it started to really, really build momentum was when he hit back-to-back threes, and it was like, okay, all right, like he's only like a couple buckets away. And then yeah, he finally does it with the turnaround jumper. Shouts to Thomas Bryant. He's gonna be forever immortalized.
Yeah, Thomas Bryant was asking for the rock.
Yeah, Thomas Bryant was like, "Yo, I'm ducking in." And listen, on a 99.9% of the time, Thomas Bryant ducking in on I think like, a guard was. I think maybe Shea. Yeah,
he's like, I got a mismatch.
That's 100% the right plays for LeBron to hit Thomas Bryant there for the post up. But of course, this was like not basketball. This was like a cinematic moment.
Yeah.
So
an
LeBron
all-time photo though. It's
says no.
An all-time photo.
Yeah, hits the fadeaway jumper, and the game just stops, right? Everyone rushes on the court. Like, the only other time I've seen everyone rush onto the court like that was during the NBA Finals. You know what I mean? Like, after, you know, the 0.9 seconds is finally over for, you know, the Raptors, and then everyone rushes onto the floor, and, like, that level, and photographers everywhere, they got to bring out the rope. Like, that's what it kind of felt like. And it was awesome to see. It was great to see LeBron sort of interact with everybody. I don't know how close him and Kareem are because they had very, very, like, you know, work
that was
friendship.
That was like a Fred Kawhi interaction.
Yeah, maybe even more frosty than that. And
no,
then,
but it was cool. It was cool for Kareem to be there. You know, you saw Magic there. Obviously, LeBron's whole family was there to celebrate.
Yep.
Shouts to Rich Paul. You know,
shouts to
Rich
Paul.
He was in the all leather fit. Yeah. You think he'll be at the KFC court tomorrow?
I somehow doubted, but
okay. Yeah, Gary Trent Sr. is in town, by the way.
Maybe he'll actually be
for listeners who want to know that information. But yeah, no, I think it was super cool. It was very, you know, there was a lot of theatrics around it. You know, shouts to my goat, Jay-Z. You know, was courtside, was able to give Bron a dap. You know, as Jay said and God did, you know, Bron's basically a rock boy, you know. And, you know, I was thinking too, like Jay was there for Kobe's last game too. And allegedly, like Kobe gave him the game ball from that.
Really?
Yeah. So Jay, yeah, that's why he's my GOAT. But yeah, no, it was a super cool moment. And then, you know, the Lakers lost and now they're still 13th in the West.
That was the funniest thing because after all the hoopla and like everyone came out and they gave a speech and, you know, Adam Silver, and of course, like well deserved, obviously, right? Yes. This is such a big moment. But then they just had to get back onto the court and just play out the last 10 seconds of the third quarter against OKC, where they got the stop. They're down 5, and then they just lose. And LeBron scores 2 points the rest of the way and was sitting due to like a foot thing or something. I don't know, but it was kind of odd to sort of shift from that to the other, you know? It was really like snap back to reality. Like, oh, yeah, this is what reality is, you know, LeBron can overcome Kareem, but he can't overcome Isaiah Joe. No, Isaiah Joe, by the way.
The human coffee shop?
First off, where
human
was
barista?
Where was Masai Bobby on Isaiah Joe, man? That would have been great. That guy can hit threes.
You know what? If they don't make any trades tomorrow of significance, we're gonna pull out a list of all the players that they've missed out on.
Okay, Isaiah Joe probably not at the top of my list.
No, but
still,
he'll make
when
the
I
list.
watched it, I was like, I'm pretty sure this guy was in the G League or he was like a free agent or something. Like,
what about Saban Lee as well? Isn't he doing all right with Phoenix?
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, you know what? Name me 2 Saban Lee facts right now.
And he's teammates with Ish Wainwright.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
one. Yeah, I know. What do you make too? People were, you know, you talk about that iconic photo of LeBron taking the shot.
Yeah.
And I think people were just pointing out because there's obviously the fans were captured in the background. Everybody was on their phone.
Yeah.
And it seemed like people were making a big deal out of that too. Thoughts on that? Because they did a side-by-side comparison to when like Michael Jordan hit his fadeaway shot in the 98 finals and there was like no phones. Obviously, it was a different time. I feel like if I was in that situation, I'd probably have my phone out too. You got to capture the moment a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, this is just a society that we're in, right? Like we don't just live like our actual lives. We also live like a separate digital life.
Yeah.
And so
you were just on Instagram before we came on the show.
yeah. So
Big change for you.
I mean, I was looking up somebody in particular. I wasn't like using the app actively. The app looks horrible, by the way. I much prefer
Oh,
Twitter.
okay. Not a fan of IG.
No, actually, my IG review is it sucks. But
the interface. Yeah.
no, that's just what life is right now. Like life in this moment is you have like your actual physical life that you lead, and then you have your digital life. And for everybody there, you take the video, you post it. Now you are digitally there, and you get that interaction, and that's like how people are motivated these days.
To let people know that you're there.
And plus, like also like the comparison to the Jordan shot is really funny because to me, I'm just like, what do you want people to do in Utah in that moment? Like pull out their pagers, like D'Angelo Barstow. Like, what do you want me to do with that?
Oh, that's you, man. Show me your notes app right now.
No,
let's read your notes app on air.
No.
Yeah, no, super cool. You were saying that some of the baseball records were more exciting for you, like just watching people chase records in that way.
So typically, you don't really see like record chasing moments in basketball, right? Like it's not as big of a thing. But I think in baseball, you do see this a lot more often. Like I was remembering back to when Barry Bonds like broke the home run record.
Yeah.
And it was so lit. Like everybody was there and everyone was chasing for the ball. And obviously, like once you get that ball, it's like such a, valuable item. So I understand that. You're never going to just run onto the court and get the game ball from LeBron. I think Rich Paul would literally walk up to the court with lasers like John Morant. But like,
goddamn,
like it was just really cool to see it in baseball. There was an anticipation for it. Every time you came up to bat, it was like the history might be made right here, right now. Versus I think with basketball, it was just kind of like a flow of the game kind of thing. And then, of course, you had to like continue and run on with the game. I'm sure after Barry Bonds hit his home run, they still finished out the game. It wasn't like no walk-off or anything. Yeah, I don't know. I just think baseball does records better. In general.
No, I agree with you. I think in baseball too, just because it's such a it's a truly like just an individual like pursuit, right? Like kind of a one-on-one matchup with like the pitcher and the hitter and stuff,
right?
Which does give it a different perspective. Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think of like other basketball records that would be would get people actually excited, like in terms of just like all time or single game. I think it's got to only be like Wilt's 100 points. Like, like all-time records, like, you talk about, like, Steph breaking the record for threes, like, LeBron chasing all-time, like, points. I think it's cool to, like, reward, like, just the longevity of it.
Yeah.
But the excitement of, like, someone actually getting to 100 points. And I feel like with the scoring explosion, like, I think it's possible.
I think it's doable. Well, which players actively in the NBA right now are, in your opinion, like, have the capability of catching LeBron?
I guess the first of catching LeBron, well, catching LeBron all time is wild because I saw the stat that like even Luka is like the pace that he's at, like he's nowhere close to being on pace.
That's wild because he came into the league and averaged like 25 from the get-go.
Yeah, I think he's like 3,000 points or something less on in terms of pace.
That's a whole season.
Yeah, but I think that's the perspective you got to give to and the respect you got to give to LeBron, right?
Yeah,
this is really a longevity award. And as much as he's been talking about the last few days that like, oh, nobody ever looked at me as a scorer, like that's true though. Like I think when you think of LeBron, you don't think of him as a scorer. Like that's not I don't think that's the first thing you think of, right? You think about him as an all-around player.
Yeah, of course. I mean, but there's no doubt that LeBron was. I mean, he gets called for him to score all the time.
Yes,
like, it's not like, oh, he's not a scorer. Like this is like Rajon Rondo broke the scoring record or something.
I think it's the other thing too is like, what is LeBron's like signature move? Because you know how like Dirk's got the 1 foot,
right,
like Steph, you can say, oh, he pulls up from the logo, all that stuff, right? Like what is like LeBron's never had that like definitive shot. I mean, Kareem's skyhook.
Well, that's the thing because when LeBron was like one basket away from making it, and sometimes he would try to get the ball in the post. I was like, oh my God, is he gonna get the ball in the post and do a skyhook? Like that'd be so sick to break the record.
He skyhooked a 3 in warmups. Yeah. Which was captured. Wow. Yeah. This is my other thing. Cool. This is my other thing. I feel like there's just I don't know. Like I do prefer when like back in the day. I mean, I wasn't around when Wilt scored the 100.
Yeah, why are you always talking about the 100? Like you were there.
No, we know that he's on the Kyrie Irving scale of conspiracies because Will actually has doubts about whether it actually happened.
No, I just don't. I mean, like again, there's no accountability. Was it an actual 100 points?
No, I like the fact that you can only go on like newspaper.com and really pull out like a news
what is newspaper.com?
Very useful for my book research.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I have it right here, man. But like you can only see a newspaper clipping and like a box score and like some I don't even know. There's like limited footage of the game. Whereas with like LeBron, it's like every angle's covered. And again, that's just the society we're in. Like the Nike commercials already like in the can, ready to be rolled out.
Yep.
Right. Like everything is there to just like celebrate. And like you see from like every angle. Like I saw the video that was being circulated. People were speculating why Anthony Davis wasn't as thrilled when I don't know if you saw this video, but
No,
like he was on the bench when LeBron hit the shot, and apparently all the teammates were celebrating, but he was just still sitting there. And that became a whole speculation. I just mean like every angle is covered now.
Sure, yeah.
Everybody looks at it. And then you had Drake come on and celebrate.
Yeah, I don't know what that video was. But I mean, I think what you're referring to is just like in this specific era, like things are so well documented because of the fact that, again, people are always like, there's an incentive for everyone to document this, that it kind of leaves nothing to imagination.
That's really what I'm trying to get at.
It completely like hits you over the head with it until you're sick of it as soon as it happens, right? Like you're sick of it already.
Yeah.
But like that's what the society is at this current moment when you have like this much content created. Like even for us, like we create tons of content every single day. I'm sure like, you know, there's not that much actually to consume about the Raptors, if I'm going to be completely honest about it. But that's like the actual like moment that we're in history. Right. And I think back in the day when you would read about it, like honestly, there's just a different feeling when you read about something versus when you've watched it versus when you've seen it from every single angle versus when you've seen everyone react to it. When you just read the paper back in the day, and you saw that, okay, wow, Kobe scored 81, for example. Like that was still then the newspaper era, okay? In 06, in I think 06, 05, or one of those seasons, when Kobe did the 81 thing, some people might have just only been able to like open their paper and then read about it, and they never really saw any clips. Or if they saw some clips, they watch it on Sportsnet or whatever, and they have to wait for like 20 minutes for it to cycle back around, and you see it again. There's an anticipation that comes with that, and then there's like an imagination that you can really then use your own like feelings towards it and attach it towards it. Versus now, it's so like you're just bludgeoned with it to the point where it's just like I'm tired of it already.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I don't think it's taking away anything from his record because I think
that's
this
just
is
society right now. That's what it is.
Yeah, but I think it's like that's a record that I think we'll truly appreciate like just over time, especially when you're asking me like, oh, who's the guy that can catch him right now? Like, you know, you think about, you know, you probably put Luka like, you know, near the top of the list, and knowing that, you know, these guys aren't anywhere close. You know, I think it's really going to put it in perspective in another generation or so. Rondé Hollis Jefferson, our former Raptors friend.
Yep.
So he was in Korea, and he actually tweeted when the record happened. He said, I'm in Korea. I connected my iPad to the TV on the bus, and our coach is playing Bejeweled while LeBron is making history. So that's where Rondé saw the.
Well, I mean, at least that's somebody who lived in the moment, you know. So respect to his Bejeweled coach, man.
Yeah, please.
You think he's Korean?
The coach?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. They import a lot of Americans over there.
That's fair. Oh.
Yeah. Whoa, Shams,
some
please,
by choice, some are not by choice. Some would say it's still
let's get an alert on the phone, man. Like, can any trades happen 24 hours before?
Yeah, what else? What else you got in this rundown, man? Brian Windhorst made $30 writing a story about LeBron in 1989. What is this?
Oh, yeah. So this was being shared today because, like, you know, Windhorst is, you know, notoriously known as having covered LeBron since his Akron days.
I
Right?
thought you were going to say since his birth. Sorry.
I mean, like,
because there is a really good meme about, anyway, whatever. Like,
is there a meme? So, no, there was this another newspaper article clipping that was circulating from the Akron Beacon Journal from December 4th, 99, when LeBron made his debut as a freshman at St. Vincent St. Mary. And the recap was written by Brian Windhorst.
Who wasn't he like a student at the school at the same time?
I want to say so. I'm not.
Or maybe
really
he was like an alumni of the school or something.
Yeah, Windhorst definitely grew up in Cleveland, right? Like I think that's where he started locally. We'll get him on the show one time to you know break that all down. Yeah,
salute to Windy, man.
Salute to Windy.
He's been moving up the rankings.
Yeah. And you know, in the article, he praised how impressive LeBron was, and you know, Windhorst saw this today and told people that he was paid $30 to write this story.
I mean, in that economy, $30 would have gotten you very far, man. Yeah, $30 would be like enough for lunch for an entire week. This is 2 lunches in Toronto nowadays.
Enough KFC chicken, for maybe 3 meals.
Just read the ad if you want to read the ad.
Hey,
man.
Basketball fans. So trade deadline. You ready for more? To hit you with more trade deadline?
Can't wait, man.
Would you like?
Can't wait. Let's go.
Would you like the Raptors news first, or would you? I'm sure fans want the Raptors.
Let's go to the Raptors news first.
Another poo-poo platter of Raptors news. By the way, you know, not to go off topic, I was looking at poo-poo platter because you know this is what people refer to all the time, right? I think poo poo platter is getting a bad name.
What is it's an actual thing?
Yeah, it's a tray of American, Chinese, or Hawaiian food consisting of an assortment of small meats and seafood appetizers. Like
Huh.
it's really just like I actually don't, because this is the common saying, right? When people offer up Dwayne Dedman and a second rounder, like that's their poo poo platter. I'm showing you a photo
That's a
right
real
now.
thing. Okay.
I'm just saying. I feel like poo poo platter is actually getting a bad name.
I mean, the name of itself is not a great advertising name. Like,
yeah, but
I mean, it's to be clear, it's apparently PU platter instead of POO. But like, what are we looking at, man?
This is not appealing to you?
No, I mean, just
not
name,
as good
just
as
name it anything else, man.
Not as good as the Hong Shing wings that we had yesterday.
No, definitely not, man.
Shouts to Sahal.
Shouts to Sahal, man. But more importantly, shouts to Colin and shouts to Hunter.
Yeah, shouts to Hunter as well. Raptors trade deadline news.
Yeah, let's go.
Bruce Arthur of the Toronto Star wrote a story today.
Okay.
About the two deadlines for the Raptors. The story titled "Thursday is one deadline for the Raptors, and it's not the only one." And he dove into the fact that the Raptors have been telling opposing teams that they're not in a rush to make any moves, and that they could, make some of these decisions down the line over the summer. Couple of interesting tidbits with regards to building around Scotty Barnes. Moving forward, Bruce said, quote, "The Raptors aren't resetting the clock to late in the decade, even if Barnes is only 21.
So that means no 2029 picks.
Yeah. So no poo-poo platter of the 2 draft picks. And he said the Raptors aren't trying to merely...
7th grade.
the Raptors aren't trying to merely stockpile draft picks unless they can plausibly turn those draft picks into Scotty Barnes' co-stars one way or another. They're aiming for contention within the next 4 or 5 years sooner if possible. So doesn't seem like the Raptors are looking to go long-term tanking is the takeaway here.
I mean,
thoughts?
That's not too much of a surprise. I mean, I just don't think that a Masai Ujiri team was ever going to be like shifting into a long-term tank where they sell off everybody and then just like leave nothing behind. I don't even think it's conducive for Scotty's like development for that to happen, right? Like you leave him with no talent around. Like what are you really setting him up for, right? Is it like a better development situation in Toronto, or is it a better one in like Houston, for example, which is essentially what you would be. That's the other idea. So no, I'm not too surprised by that. I mean, I also think that like you're probably not going to see like 3 guys traded tomorrow, like 3 starters traded tomorrow. I just don't think that. But you might see 1 or 2 like moved into other pieces, and you maybe rebalance your team or address certain positional weaknesses. That could be our hope. But yeah, this just makes sense. It's just good management, actually, I think.
We've watched Scotty kind of, in different roles the last couple of years. What would be an ideal co-star? If you were just thinking like, not even specific player, just like skill set or position. Like if you were to go out in the market and think about like, what's a player you want to get to pair with Scotty moving forward?
I mean, it's hard to say without specifically knowing like which direction his career is going to move or grow. I think for me, definitely like a consistent like scorer for him would really help, because I think for him his nature is as someone who wants to set up plays rather than always finishing.
Playmaker. With
so
like
someone who could score. Yeah, I think that's for me. That's probably that one. And then I think depending on how the future of the team goes, especially if it's going to be like Scotty as a forward instead of like having him play center, because I don't think that's a long-term solution. Like probably having a floor spacing center would really help in that situation. So that's what basically I'm saying is like Wemby or Scoot.
Okay. All right, pray for those lottery balls.
Apparently, yeah.
The other big news coming out is just that like I don't want to talk about Kevin Durant so much because missed out this summer on him, but
you sell down bad, man.
He seems he's in the conversation. He's impacting the Raptors.
Okay, yeah.
And I think there's been reports. My guy Wendy said that the Nets' position on trading KD may change over the next 48 hours. The Nets are just in a tough spot right now because it feels like they're out in the market, trying very desperately to still assemble a winning team. But I don't know. At what point do you just kind of think about it the other way? I mean, it'd be a pretty bold move for them to just go ahead and just move off KD, because there are pieces there that they can start retooling and rebuilding around and not bottom out.
Here's the thing with KD.
All right.
He's an inelastic product. Don't matter what
you gotta explain that.
doesn't matter what the demand is, man.
Not everybody took economics.
The price is going to be high. No, but seriously though, with KD, like he's going to hold his value in the offseason. You might as well try to make a push for it right now.
Yeah. But the way this is, so the way this is impacting the Raptors is like, multiple people are just reporting that a lot of teams that
I just don't buy that.
A lot of teams that might have offers for OG might want to now hold on to those assets.
I mean, a lot of teams probably just sounds like Phoenix in particular.
I mean,
so I wouldn't be surprised if Phoenix got taken out of the mix.
New Orleans could be in that conversation too. If they put like a Brandon Ingram in that conversation for a KD.
Well, Brandon Ingram wasn't going to be going out for OG.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's also the draft capital that you can only use on one big trade, right?
I mean, they have enough draft capital; they can split it on 2 big trades.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
I
mean, like,
yeah.
I mean, I think for certain teams, for sure. Like, I think for a Phoenix, they probably look in that direction. But yeah, for me, I'm thinking about like. For sure at this deadline, I don't really buy this from Windhorst. Obviously, Windhorst knows way more, but it's just like I just don't see it. Like the Nets' pattern of behavior for the last 4 years is they'll do anything they can for KD. KD's like, yo, to let go of the coach. At first, they were like, no, we're going to stick with Steve Nash. And then they booted him very quickly into the season, right? So it's like, and they're like, I want to play with Kyrie. So the Kyrie gets signed and all this other stuff. And, I want to play with James. James Harden comes. And then, I want to play with DeAndre Jordan. Like, there's just like a pattern. Like, I want to fire the first coach. I want to hire Steve in the first place. Like, they'll do anything for KD. So I don't buy this idea that they're going to flip KD in the next 24 hours. I mean, it'd be great if they did for Toronto.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, that's not going to happen.
Do you think this impacts the way Toronto thinks too? Because, like, I don't know, like if KD were to be available this summer and the Raptors, depending on which players they end up keeping, like, they have a lot of assets to revisit those conversations, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that...
Just give me some hope, man. Let's go.
I mean, okay, so last summer, basically, they weren't willing to discuss Scotty, right? Maybe other pieces were essentially
and by all
on the
accounts,
table.
from a lot of reporting that's come out after, like, the conversations just stopped, like, after that.
Yeah,
like, it was, once Scotty wasn't on the table.
Do you think Scotty still has that same value?
I think so. I think by all accounts, the Raptors seem to... That's the one player that they're locked in on right now, right?
Who, Brooklyn or Toronto?
No, like Toronto. Like, not like the front office is not letting.
So if you're going to re-engage them on a KD trade, you're still not going to say Scotty's name for Toronto side, and then so there's still no conversation.
But what if they're not getting? What if they can get into the conversation with just who else? Like if OG is still here,
man, you know damn well that the Brooklyn Nets are not going to be saying yes to an OG Anunoby headline package for Kevin Durant.
I just want some.
If so, Masai deserves a statue ASAP. Like move the gargoyles out.
I just want. Yo, respect those gargoyles, man. Those guys probably set all-time records as well.
That's fine, man. Whatever.
Oh man, don't read the YouTube chat and reply to anybody on air right now. No, I just want a glimmer of hope, man. But
yeah, no,
I guess you're right though. If Scotty's not on the table,
that's the only move that you could potentially make because again, it's Kevin Durant on the table if that's what happens.
Yeah, Wendy also says that some teams are reportedly unwilling to engage in trade talks with the Nets because they don't want to help them retain KD. Yeah, I mean. That's fair.
Mean, I suppose.
You're so tired of this, KD.
No, I just like no, it's not that. I'm just like I just don't believe teams are like that willing to like spite other teams. Just like I didn't really fully buy that Josiah thing was like, oh, he wanted all this from the Lakers because he didn't want to send Kyrie to the Lakers. I'm like, man, I don't buy that. I really don't.
Yeah, Josiah.
I just didn't think the Lakers stuff was all that.
Josiah's, yeah, that is a poo-poo platter.
That was genuinely the PO
the Max Christie,
yeah,
the Austin Reeves. Yeah, Josiah's having the least fun as an NBA owner. I challenge you to name me another NBA owner that's had less fun in like his first however many years running this team, running a team. There's there's no other one.
What about Mikhail Prokhorov? I don't think he was having that much fun paying the luxury tax for Kevin Garnett and Joe Johnson.
I don't think he really cared though. He was just like he would show up like just once, like every like year and do a presser. That's kind of like Bobby and Masai.
Damn. So no Bobby presser yesterday.
Oh yeah, by the way, apologies.
What up to your sources on that one?
Yeah. Only listen to Will Lou sources.
What's your source? I'm so curious.
Only listen to
the break, I suppose.
Only listen to Will Lou sourcing on that. I did see some people tweet being like, "Wait, is Bobby talking today?"
Yeah, I know.
I felt bad.
Where did you get that?
Anyways, Ian Begley says that in any trade talks between the Raptors and the Nets right now, the Raptors are asking for Nick Claxton, and which again it makes sense.
Again, I just don't think Brooklyn's going to move him.
You know what it is? Brooklyn and Toronto are just not good trade partners at this moment.
I think so. Yeah.
There's no like Brooklyn wants the players that Toronto doesn't want to trade, i.e. Pascal. which the Athletic reported today that he is very happy to continue his career in Toronto.
Yeah.
A source with knowledge of the situation told Sam Amick. Yeah. Same source. But
quite possibly.
but no, like Brooklyn wants these players. Like they're desperate right now. They're Stringer Bell in the last 24 hours of the season 3 of his heart.
What y'all want? Huh?
He's
Money?
he's running around right now. No, that's Sean Marks right now. That is literally Sean Marks right now, desperately scrambling to just make this one move.
Right.
But which players are they really gonna give up that would line up with what Toronto wants? Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas was another 40-point game yesterday.
I know.
So yeah, he's a problem, but
he's got that Kawhi personality too.
Yeah,
nothing to smile about type vibes.
I kind of hear you on that.
And they're not going to trade Nick. They're not going to trade Nick Claxton. If you're trying to win, you're not going to. Why would you give up Nick Claxton?
Exactly. And look, I'm not even sure if I would necessarily say yes to a Nick Claxton and Cam Thomas led package for Pascal.
No.
First off, without salaries winning a match, you would literally need to throw in
Pascal
30 more million, I think, maybe, or maybe at least 20. But the other thing too is just even so, Brooklyn will never say yes to that right now. They're not gonna maximize this season by moving their defensive backbone.
Yeah, I just think Brooklyn. I mean,
so you're right. Maybe they are just poor trade partners.
I think Brooklyn just needs to be a little careful about giving away all these additional draft picks and things that they've accumulated because you don't know KD's future. But that's their problem to deal with. No, I think any trade for Pascal's it's got to be the Rudy Gobert type package to even think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And even then, I don't think you move.
That's a decision you make. I just don't think it makes
sense.
You're not making that in the next 24 hours, like I mentioned.
Yeah. Jakob Poeltl time.
Oh, can't wait.
Mark Stein from #ThisLeague on
Yo, shout out to Steiny-Mo, man. I feel like he really came on strong this offseason.
But Stein's been in the game.
Oh, I know, but I think he's come on extra strong.
All right, what's your rankings right now? I think Jake Fisher has shot up too. Shouts to Jake
Fisher, yeah, in the power rankings. Okay, Shams is number 1 easily, right? The Riz God.
The God, yeah. Oh,
right?
Okay, yeah.
Number 2, who's been really good at this stuff? I feel like Chris Haynes is really good at this stuff.
Yeah, Chris is good.
Chris is really plugged in. I really respect him.
Windy low key, man.
Oh yeah, Windy's up there too.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Woj fell off.
Nah, I don't even know. Woj's
not even top 5 right now.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not. Man, I mean, I feel like Stein has done a lot of good stuff. He's put up a lot of stuff. I'm reading a Substack. As soon as that email notification pops up, I got the notification on email for a Substack.
Yeah.
And I'm reading. You're real when I'm reading your articles on Gmail.
No, trade deadline or not, people should subscribe to Mark Stein's Substack. It's actually very informative. Once again, he reported today that Toronto has explored packaging Gary Trent Jr. and some level of draft compensation to San Antonio for Spurs center Jakob Poeltl.
So Jakob Poeltl's there tonight, man. We'll see.
There you go.
I wonder if Jakob Poeltl packed, a carry-on or a suitcase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a full-on.
So you're saying did he went Grange or did he go Lou in terms of travel packing?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Shouts to Grange, man. Posted that photo of his carry-on.
Nah, that was I respected it, but at the same time, I'm like that. I know that carry-on smells bad. The odors.
Oh God.
Rough Ned odors.
I forgot why I didn't know you were gonna say that. Stein also mentioned that the Raptors believe they can get 3 firsts for OG, and Memphis, New Orleans, and the Knicks have all indicated a willingness to offer 2 picks. Now we're down to 2 picks.
No, I knew 2 picks was for sure going to be on the table.
But the Raptors think they can extract more.
Yeah, of course.
3 picks.
Again, this is always going to drag down to the deadline. We're going to be here tomorrow at this exact time in our exact same seats.
2 to 4 p.m.
3:33 p.m.
Yeah,
and we're going to have the same conversation with OG potentially being moved with 15 minutes left in the deadline. You know what I mean?
Don't go to the KFC court till 4. Tune in.
Yeah. All right.
But hey, basketball fans. Mike Scotto of Hoops Hype said that 1/3 of the league has registered interest in Matisse Thybulle, including the Raptors.
I'm not surprised, man.
Yo, why are Raptors being linked to Thybulle and Ben Simmons? What are we trying to do, man? Shoot bricks at the KFC court?
No, relax, right? No, but seriously though, you do see today in particular more smoke about the Raptors have inquired about Eric Gordon. They're interested. They're linked to Matisse Thybulle. They're linked to Jakob Poeltl. I'm like, these are win now moves. Are you sure the Raptors really want to do a win now kind of move? 5 games under the 500. in
Any
this
int-
particular
yeah,
season.
so Tybalt's going to be a restricted free agent this summer,
Mm.
eligible for a $6.2 million qualifying offer. Any interest at all in Matisse Tybalt?
Matisse.
Any interest?
Shouts to Keith Pompey.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a great
one of my favorite
man.
episodes. Back when we could talk hoops.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's like very
No,
disruptive.
any interest?
I think
Are
so.
you registering
Okay,
any interest?
I am interested because he fits the way the Raptors like to play. They like to force a lot of turnovers. He's very, very good
Yeah.
at creating deflections and stuff like
Gonna
that.
be 0 for 7 from 3. I just need a guy who can just like, bring
Please.
Joe Wieskamp back then.
Can we just please
This
have
is what's
guys
gonna happen tomorrow. They're
who
gonna
can make
trade
shots?
They're gonna trade a second rounder for Kelly Oubre, and they're gonna sign Joe Wieskamp.
No, I'm sick.
This is gonna be the Stanley Johnson day.
Oh, man.
One more player.
Okay.
Bones Highland.
Okay, that's a guy that can make shots.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Per Mike Singer of the Denver Post, the Raptors, Pelicans, and Timberwolves are showing some level of interest. So Bones Highland is 22 in his second season. He's fallen out of the rotation in Denver.
Okay.
A lot of reporting from our guy Chris Haynes that his relationship with Mike Malone just is not working out.
Okay.
And clearly the Nuggets are trying to make a move to contend and try to win this year. He's only making $2.2 million this season, $2.3 next year, and then a team option for $4.1 million in 24-25. He's shooting 37.8% from 3 this season, but only 39% overall from the field.
Yeah. I mean, 39.9. I mean, come on, man. This is basically Fred's averages. 39% from the field, 37% from 3.
No, I didn't want to say that. But yeah.
I mean, hey, listen. I
Numbers
recognize
don't
those
lie.
numbers. Yeah.
Men line number, women line number just don't.
Uh-huh.
Bones Highland, what is your interest level in Bones Highland?
Yeah, I'm interested. I think he would be a good piece for the Raptors second unit. I think that they've really needed somebody who can get their own basket, but also set up other guys. Bones is more of a scorer, I think, than necessarily setting up other guys, but clearly he's got some juice. So
age-wise,
I like Bones. Sure.
He's not a sneaky 26. But I think the problem is when you think about trade partners again, Denver's gonna be looking for a piece that can help them win now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
exactly.
what is that piece for the Raptors to send back?
I mean,
right?
Denver's probably looking for two-way forwards, maybe.
Okay.
Who
who would
would
they want from this roster,
man.
right?
Like Chris Boucher is I don't think that's enough to get him, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And also, you have to make the money work on that one.
You have to make
a big difference.
Well, I don't think the money is going to be a. Oh yeah, I guess they would have to. Okay, yeah. That might be an issue as well. Yeah, I don't know. If you're offering Chris, then I think you'd have to throw in some draft capital at that point.
I mean, and I'm seeing this point made in the chat, and I do agree with this. His defense is very bad. I mean, that's part of the reason why he's falling out of the rotation.
The Raptors' defense overall is bad.
I know,
There's
but
no standard.
There's not a long track record of Nick Nurse playing poor defenders. So I hear that. I hear that.
Maybe
Trust
that
me.
needs to change.
This is yeah.
Maybe that needs.
But then again, he can score a lot better than anyone on the Raptors bench.
Yeah. Okay. So
right.
keep an eye out for Bones Highland. Keep an eye out for Matisse Tybalt. Oh man.
Oh my gosh. How many eyes do I need? Man?
What kind of platter we're gonna get tomorrow?
Keep an eye on Bones Highland.
No, we need a
what am I
platter.
looking for here? All right, we're gonna take a break. I've been your host, Willu. That's Alex Wong. You're listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wim Liu. Continue to be joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong. Before we wrap up today's show, we definitely want to go around the league and look for some topics to look at with other teams ahead of the trade deadline. But definitely want to give a huge shout out to our friends at Shing last night, Alex.
Yeah, we had a chance to take our friend Sahal, who lives in Richmond Hill, to Shing.
Well, first off, Sahal was just like, yo, I'll just drive you home. And then he was like, I'm kind of hungry, though. And then he was like, yo, I've always, he's like, where I've always wanted to go? It was like that. It was like that cutscene in Rush Hour when he was like, where do I want to go? And he's like, I want to go to Madison Square Garden. Their names are. Right. And he's like, I've always wanted to go to Hongsheng. And that was my eyes lit up.
Oh, I didn't know he specifically.
Yes.
I thought you were just trying to show him.
No. He was like, I actually really wanted to go to Hongsheng. Okay. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, are you serious?
Yeah. So you grabbed me from the Raptors Republic event.
Yep.
Yeah. 3 of us made the trip there. And Colin, always, great hospitality.
Oh, man. As soon as he saw us there, too, he was just like, all right.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Disappeared into the kitchen. Brought
Hunter
us some free
as well.
stuff.
Yeah. And, Colin does a lot of great things in the basketball space here in the local community.
He's always looking to give back because, he's like, he just loves basketball. He's a pure hooper like that. But obviously, the kitchen takes up a lot of his time.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he's doing a lot of stuff in terms of sponsoring a men's team and women's team as well.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So shouts to Colin for that. Ran into a couple of Raptors Show listeners at the Raptors Republic event yesterday, and one of them said that we were responsible for him spending $78 at Superfresh.
Nice.
Yeah. So just to keep that Superfresh connection going with Trevor,
Yeah.
Banter
I like we're playing both sides of the fence here with Trevor and Colin.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, the general feedback is just,
No, but Hongsheng, the food at Hongsheng was excellent, though.
We're a food podcast, I guess. We talk about like 4 spots, I feel like.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
Yeah. And then another listener wouldn't get me a drink at the bar because he's like, I would get you a drink, but generational wealth. So.
You deserve it, man.
Yeah, it's kind of hurting me. I gotta scale that stuff back. Anyways, trade deadline is tomorrow. I didn't know if you knew that. Basketball fans. And we talked a lot about the Raptors. Will said during the break, no more Raptors. So, when you look around the league and you think about the other teams who could be involved, either as a buyer or seller, what is the team? Like, let's try to pick a couple teams here. What's a team that really interests you in terms of what you're looking at for tomorrow? What they're gonna do?
I mean, you got to figure like some of the top teams in the Eastern Conference will continue to stack up, right? Like, this is just what it is, right? When you're at the very top, like you got to add just a couple more rotation pieces. I expect Milwaukee to do something. I think they can definitely use a little bit of help with their offense.
Okay.
But I think more importantly, they've been linked to Jay Crowder. Can they get that deal done finally so Jay Crowder can be back in the league? I'm sure we've all been dying to see Jay Crowder back in the league doing his thing.
Can this be a Eric Gordon destination in any way?
Yeah, no. I mean, I feel like if they can get both, that'd be a huge deadline for them. I don't know if that's even possible with the contracts they have. But obviously, Boston has made additions to their team in the last 2 windows here. They did so in the offseason, and then they also did it last year's trade deadline. So we'll see if they add a little bit more. I think their team is a little bit more complete, so they might be okay on that front.
Another team consistently linked to Jakob Poeltl when it's been brought up.
Yeah.
I feel like Boston doesn't need to make a move. I feel like...
No, I don't think so either, but, I mean, maybe they get some backup again. Because, again, these are teams that know they're going to be contending. They're just looking for moves at the margins, at the fringes.
Yeah.
I think Philadelphia, Daryl Morey's history has always been that he's very active at the deadline, so we'll see what he does there. Maybe he adds another George Hill.
Yeah, he did say...
Remember when he added George Hill? He's like, yeah, the price for Kyle Lowry is too high. I'm going to add George Hill. It's like, yeah, good luck with that one.
He did say this week in an interview, quote, if you take the list of teams that are making players available that could maybe play for us in the playoffs and then take the ones that we can actually acquire, it's a very, very small list. I think we feel good going to war with who we have.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if that's what ultimately happens with that team. But
yeah, well, they need to take care of Furkan Korkmaz's trade request.
Yo, that is one of the most random trade requests I've ever seen.
No, we've had...
Imagine you're Daryl Morey and Furkan Korkmaz, of all people, was like, hey, I need a deal. And like, if you're Daryl Morey, you're like, I can't make a deal with...
it's like, what do you want me to do, man?
Anadolu Efes. Like, what do you want me to do? Ship you to Besiktas? Like, it's not possible right now.
Dwayne Dedmon's matching salary already got sent out, man. We can't make a deal right now.
That's a wild trade request. Speaking of which, I actually wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him.
Really?
He can shoot a three, man. I just want to see
He
guys
can
on the
shoot
team.
a single three.
That's what I want to see on the team. Can I just see? Is this so bad that I want to see some offense?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I just want to see good basketball.
Fair. I'm also like curious in terms of like, okay, Utah obviously has a lot of pieces, and they're clearly moving in a direction where they want to like just continue to tank.
But Danny Ainge moves like a Masai in that, he's comfortable, always comfortable, not making a move.
Blood from a stone
Type vibe.
Sure. Okay.
But yes, they have a lot of players. Mike Conley.
Yep.
Malik Beasley, I think, is pretty coveted as well. And they've been linked. I mean, they've been linked to the Lakers since like the start of this season.
Okay.
And apparently a deal the deal that would happen is, they would, ship Westbrook's contract and then probably some of that poo-poo platter we talked about, like an Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And the 2 draft picks that you hate.
The middle school special?
No, but
the lunch special
no,
that they
but
got over there?
That's the thing for the Lakers too. In the same way, like, do you give up these assets for a team that's in 13th?
I mean, it's still LeBron and AD on your team, right? You still got to go for it. Once you pick that direction,
you wait for the summer again. Who knows? Like, Kyrie might be available in the summer.
Sure, yeah.
And they would just have to move off Rui Hachimura.
Yeah. Rui looks decent, by the way. He's another guy who could knock down a three. All right.
I love how your standard is just a single three.
No, my standard is seeing guys who can, make a basket off the bench. Like,
yes,
I haven't seen that in a while.
I think Utah is interesting. I mean, this is another opportunity for them to just stack up assets.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, Toronto's we've talked to death on this show.
Yes.
I think I mean, for me, like I would like to see Golden State make some moves. Just like look, if I'm not going to root for the Raptors, I like to root for like really good team basketball, and so like I like watching like Golden State. I like watching Denver, for example, like especially out west. Like these teams don't matter to me, so I'm just like I might as well pick one and kind of roll with it. And like, for the sake of Andy Liu, like I would hope that they won't have to rely on like someone like Anthony Lamb in the playoffs or something like that.
Steph's out another month.
I mean, what can you do there? But realistically, like, can they add like another like two-way forward, which I think really what they need. They just need to replace like Otto Porter.
Yeah.
And then stay healthy for a while, which I think they can do. So we'll see what the Warriors do.
We need to replace Otto Porter.
We have Otto Porter, by the way. If anyone's interested in Otto Porter, you can. It's one of those like Facebook Marketplace situations where it's free. You just got to come pick it up.
Yeah, I think Phoenix is an interesting wild card team too.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it seems like with the new owner as well, like they're just ready to make a move. We've heard Chris Paul in so many of these conversations.
Well, it's interesting with the Chris Paul thing because I know, your favorite podcast, #ThisLeague, Chris Haynes was detailing how he was the one who broke that news to Chris Paul.
He asked Chris if he was okay with sharing this information.
Right.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul's like, yes, not only is it okay for you to share this information as a report, it's okay for you to share this information of me okaying you to share the information.
Yeah. So no, my favorite, I think the thing I'm going to keep an eye on tomorrow outside of the Raptors is I really hope Eric Gordon can just find happiness.
Okay.
We
ran out of time.
You saw him last Friday show up to work against the Raptors.
Yeah.
Try to get that W and,
Good for him, man.
And now it's time for Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's a whole new game. The Toronto Raptors are playing basketball tonight at home against the San Antonio Spurs. After finishing off their 7-game road trip, going 4-3, the Spurs are 14-40 on the season, 5-19.
Damn.
On the road. OG Anunoby is out tonight.
Yeah.
As well as Otto Porter, the Raptors.
I didn't even see him at the practice facility yesterday either, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Should that get
I mean, I don't know.
Should that get aggregated?
No. I just mean like
would you like to get aggregated?
No. I won't.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't see everybody there, so it's not. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to see you on one of those Legion hoops.
No, please, man. No.
Per William Blue.
That stuff is so lame.
Per
man.
Alex Wong, Bobby Webster speaking on Tuesday. The line for tonight's game.
That's a horrible source.
Raptors minus 10.5.
That's a lot of points. It's
It's a bad team, but so are the Raptors, though. Careful.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
Because you're basically saying that the Raptors are going to blow them out.
Okay, let's be
Which
clear.
is quite possible.
The
right?
Spurs are on a 9-game losing streak.
Yep.
Right.
I'm looking at their schedule right now.
Yeah.
There's a 38-point loss in here. My goodness.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So don't be too deceived by the line. But it'll be interesting. You don't know what you're gonna get. This is the last game before trade deadline.
I'm thinking the Raptors win, but I don't know. 10.5 is a lot to give this Raptors team. I mean, it's quite possible. Like the last time the Raptors played San Antonio, they won by like 40.
Yeah, that was one of the best games of the season.
Yeah,
They were
I
just
remember
they were just on a fast break for 48 minutes.
that. That was actually wild. I think we scored like literally 40 fast break points.
That felt like the peak of Vision 6-9. I think Fred was out that game.
Yeah. People were like, "Yo, listen, it could be different." Oh, they won by 43. My bad. I don't.
Yeah, that was amazing. So yeah, 10.5
Man,
at home.
That's a great line.
That's how Vegas does it.
You know what? I'm taking the Raptors.
I'm
I'm saying the line, but I don't feel
the
great
Raptors.
about it just because again, there's a lot of points to give to the Raptors. But
He's taking the Raptors. So Raptors minus 10.5
what are you taking?
is the pick. I'm taking the Raptors as well. How many trades do you think there will be Raptors trades by the time we come on air at 2 tomorrow?
I was gonna say to the
Over under 0.5.
Do the Spurs have to fly out tomorrow? Because maybe they spend the day extra in tomorrow, and maybe Jakob stays. You know what I mean? Like,
telling you, it's gonna be Kelly Oubre for a second.
oh god, I can't wait.
That's my prediction.
2-hour trade deadline special tomorrow. We will react to everything that happens live, and so that'll be fun. Shouts to JR as well. Producer JR will be giving us an assist on that one. And we'll break down all the trades, and we'll see exactly what the Raptors do. Clearly, they're going to be at the eye of the storm. But for now, we're out of time. And I've been your host, Baloo, and you've been listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, and please rate and review the show. Reminder, we're streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360 Monday to Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Thanks again to producer and co-host Alex Wong. Thanks to our board producer Derek Brandale and Jennifer Rolnick for helping us with the YouTube stream. And the trade deadline is tomorrow. I can't wait for it to end.